Greetings to GCA members and the rest of the Gwinnett community. As president of the Gwinnett County Association of Educators, I would like to extend my sincere welcome home to our new superintendent, Dr. Calvin Watts. Dr. Watts, we look forward to working together with you and the board to identify areas of improvement and to develop and implement solutions that improve the learning environment for our children and the working conditions for those adults who serve them. I would also like to commend Board Chair Everton Blair, Vice Chair Karen Watkins, and every member of the board for doing their part to ensure the vote on the selection of Dr. Watts was unanimous. This was an example to our community of how we can work civilly, find common ground, and move forward together. Of course, in order for us to work together, we must have an honest assessment of where we are, the challenges that face us, and a commitment to an honest partnership with all stakeholders if we truly intend to achieve the world-class schools our children deserve. To that end, I will start with what we at GCAE see to be some of the current challenges and then discuss the opportunities to work together to address them. Our greatest current test is to provide our children with a safe learning environment during this pandemic. Currently, we do not believe that GCPS is operating with an appropriate mindset. There is little evidence of the planning necessary to address the obvious challenges of operating our schools in the midst of this pandemic. Instead, there appears to be a desire to rush back to a normal that was already not working for many students and staff prior to COVID. Last summer, Governor Kemp and State School Superintendent Woods released a joint statement urging Georgia's public schools to use common sense, and I quote, "Focus before anything else on the health, safety, and well-being of students, families, and school staff. As hospitals once again fill with COVID patients, it is more important than ever to heed this advice. Yet instead of assessing our community's strengths and working together to address the challenges that face us, we have recommitted ourselves to a top-down system of decision-making that had already shown signs of being irredeemably broken. In the middle of a pandemic, some of our children are sitting in class sizes of 30, 40, even 50-plus children in schools where there are a dozen or more administrators with teaching certificates who could be back in the classroom driving down those class sizes. In addition to reducing COVID transmission rates and improving efforts at contact tracing, research consistently shows that lower class sizes result in better student outcomes and allows adults to more easily identify learning challenges and emotional and mental health needs. Instead, we continue to micromanage the professional educators that we have repeatedly evaluated and to whom we have renewed contracts by having administrators sit in on and monitor teacher planning meetings. Micromanagement is not the same as support for our educators or our children. While more innovative school systems are reallocating resources to help create outdoor classrooms that engage and inspire students in a safer learning environment, we continue to think within the same tired box of top-down standardization that we were operating in before COVID entered our lives. I have seen impressive presentations from the central office on the importance of social and emotional learning and the need for trauma-informed instructional practices. Yet when one of our members requested permission to introduce a weekly 10 to 15 minute mindfulness lesson into their classroom, they were provided the all too common short-sighted and worn-out response that it must be directly tied to the curriculum in order to ensure there is bell-to-bell instruction. Ask yourself this question: how are we to teach our children of color to feel empowered and engaged as citizens in our democracy when our schools use a 19th century style hierarchy that leaves the educators who serve them feeling like powerless second-class citizens in their own profession? The working conditions of our teachers are the learning conditions of our students. We must do better. I now wish to show you a few slides that make the case for the need for a new normal that ensures we are putting the interest of all of our children, our staff, and their families first. These first few slides are reminders of a pre-COVID system that was far from world-class. from ill-conceived performance pay programs that threaten to exacerbate already existing inequalities to racial disparities and discipline consequences in a curriculum that fails to express the strengths and accomplishments of the diverse community it claims to serve. There has long been much room for improvement. This next slide indicates the composition of the equity team that last year was charged with, among other things, addressing the need for GCPS to continue to recruit, support, and retain a diverse workforce of equity-centered teachers. You can imagine my surprise to find that those developing this committee felt that a single teacher voice and no teachers of color among 24 members was sufficient to accomplish this important task. While I was honored to be present, and I believe many on the committee were well-intentioned, I could not help to feel something was amiss. The next few slides help to demonstrate how our school system has spent an increasing amount of resources on administration while seeking class size waivers from the Georgia Department of Education. As you can see, GCPS has had 10 straight years of growth in the administrator ranks. This growth has outpaced that in other large metro Atlanta districts and has led to larger class sizes and educators feeling more micromanaged than supported. In fact, at a recent board meeting, our former superintendent, Will Banks, admitted that perhaps some principals were using too many personnel points to hire administrators, and GCPS's own Human Resources Cross-Functional Action Team reported that our social worker to student ratio is woefully inadequate and recommended hiring at least 19 more social workers to help address our children's social and emotional needs. We must think carefully about how to reallocate our limited resources in such a way that truly supports our children and adults who serve them. We at GCAE believe in an approach that flattens the current hierarchy by providing a path to leadership roles without leaving the classroom. As a school system, we are guaranteed to make better decisions when we balance the 10,000-foot perspective of central office personnel with those adults who experience our students every day as children in classrooms, not as data points on a spreadsheet. We believe the teacher-powered schools model offers a realistic path to healthier learning environments for our children and a more supportive workplace for our teachers and support staff. Because the turnover in staff is greatest in Title I schools, we suggest any such initiatives should begin there first. In an attempt to include all stakeholders in this work, we have acquired through an open records request placement preferences of personnel, so the community will be better informed about where our teacher shortages are greatest and where school principals are struggling to retain the teachers they have hired. This data can be found on our website at www.gwinetteducators.org. If you found this video worth the time to watch, please share it with others and join us in this movement to reimagine a new GCPS centered on serving the entire child and committed to the principles of equity and justice for all of our children. The leadership of GCAE recognizes that our new superintendent inherited the failed system that is the target of much of our criticism, and we look forward to finding common ground and working together with Dr. Watts, Board Chair Blair, and the rest of our elected school board to build a new system that truly fulfills the promise of Gwinnett County Public Schools for all of our children and the adults who serve them. In solidarity, always.